Good morning, fourth grade. Welcome to Monday Math. Today we're going to start a new unit on adding fractions, but I want to show you a couple things first. This is going to seem like baby math, but that's okay. If I have two strips and I want to add one strip, one more, 2 plus 1 equals what? Well, obviously 1, 2, 3, 3. You've been doing that since like preschool, right? Easy peasy. If I had, let's say I have 3 strips and I want to add one strip, well, now I have 3 plus 1 equals what? Well, of course, 4, right? Now, when we add fractions, it works exactly the same way. We're talking about pieces. So if I have 1/3 and I want to add 1/3, well, what do I have here? Well, I have 2/3, right? And we would write that 1/3 plus 1/3 equals 2/3. You see, I don't have 2/6, I have 2/3. Let's take a look at another one. Let's take fourths. What if I have 1, 2, 2/4 right here, plus one more fourth. Well, when I put those together, what do I have? I have 3/4. The thing to really remember when we add fractions are two things. First of all, the denominators must be the same. You cannot add fractions if the denominators are not the same. So you cannot add at this point 2/4 plus 1/3. Sorry about that. Because the denominators are different. You cannot do that. Right now what we're doing is we're only doing it where the denominators are the same. And look at the trick. It's really pretty easy. Do you see? When you add, you keep the denominators the same and you just add the numerators. So 1 plus 1 is 2. Therefore, 1/3 plus 1/3 equals 2/3. Look at this one. 2 plus 1 equals 3. You keep the denominators the same. So 2/4 plus 1/4 equals 3/4. So once again, remember, the denominators have got to be the same when we're adding fractions. And if you do that, it'll be very, very easy. All right, now, I want you to open up your books to page 561. And we're going to take a look at this, okay? Now, you don't have models to add fractions, so you're going to have to draw them or just look at the book. So let's take a look. A unit fraction has a numerator of 1. This is important to remember. When they talk about a unit fraction, it has a numerator of 1. So you see over here, I have some examples of unit fractions. 1/5 is a unit fraction because the numerator is 1. 1/4 is a unit fraction. 1/8 is a unit fraction. All right? So remember that because you'll need it for your IXL today. It is one of the equal parts of the whole. Fractions that have the same denominator are called like fractions. You can use models to add like fractions. So look, we have 3/5, 2/5, and 4/5. Do you see how the denominators are the same? So these are considered like fractions. So now we're going to take a look at this. We're going to skip the word problem part and just look at the addition part. Find 1/5 plus 1/5 plus 1/5. Well, you model it with tiles or you can draw it. Here's a fifth, here's a fifth, here's a fifth. So how many tiles do you have? 1, 2, 3. So you see, you add the like fractions. There are 3 1/5 fraction tiles, so 1/5 plus 1/5 plus 1/5 equals 3/5. You see? The denominators are the same, and you just add the numerators. 1 plus 1 plus 1 equals 3. So the answer is 3/5. Let's turn the page. Now we're on page 562. It says not all fractions are unit fractions. You can decompose or break down a fraction into a sum of unit fractions. So look, 3/8. You know this. This is really easy. 3/8 is what? 1/8 plus 1/8 plus 1/8. 3/8 is the sum of 3 unit fractions of 1/8. So you've got 3/8 here. If we were in school, you'd be building this. And then you're going to add 2/8. So see, you've got 2 more 8s here. Here are your 3/8, 1, 2, 3. Here are your 2/8, 1, 2. You're going to add those up. How many do you have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Well, you see, there are 5 tiles. 3/8 plus 2/8 equals 5/8. Look, denominators are the same. Add the numerators. So now let's take a look at this. And you'll be doing this in IXL. The fraction 5/8 can be considered as the sum of what? 1/8 plus 1/8 plus 1/8 plus 1/8 plus 1/8, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It can also be considered as the sum of 3/8 plus 2/8. Then it says write 2 other ways you can think of 5/8 as a sum. Well, when you do that, you look at the 5 and you say, okay, what plus what equals 5? Well, 1 plus 4 equals 5. So you can say 1/8 plus 4/8 equals 5/8. You don't have to worry too much about that, but I wanted to show that to you. All right, now let's take a look at 563. Now you don't have models, so I drew it on my paper, and you can do this too. Model the sum using fraction tiles. Draw the model, then add. So I look at my numerator, or my denominator, excuse me. I look at my denominator, it's sixths. So over here, I drew sixths. I drew a hole, and then I divided it into sixths. So it says 1/6 plus 4/6. Well, I'm going to shade in 1/6, right? You can use crayons or whatever. And then it says 4/6. Well, let's look. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, now I'm going to shade those in. And what do I have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1/6 plus 4/6 equals 5/6. You keep the denominator the same and you add the numerator. Let's look at the next one. 4/8 plus 2/8. Well, I drew my eighths over here, and you can do that when you do your work. You can do 1, 2, 3, 4. We're going to shade that in. And then you add 2 more. And what do you have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. But you already knew that. 4 plus 2 is 6, and you keep your denominator the same. So 4/8 plus 2/8 equals 6/8. So now let's take a look at the bottom. This exercise just shows what we already know, that you keep the denominator the same and you add the numerator. So 1/5 plus 1/5 plus 1/5 equals what? 3/5, because 1 plus 1 plus 1 is 3. 3/8 plus 2/8, keep the denominator the same. 3 plus 2 equals 5. 1/10 plus 1/10 plus 7/10. 1 plus 1 is 2. 2 plus 7 is 9. That's 9/10. Now, let's take a look at this one. We're adding 1/4 plus 1/4 plus 1/4. Write your answer. 1 plus 1 plus 1 equals 3, and you keep the denominator the same. Now, on the bottom here, this is what you're actually doing with IXL this week. So you are going to, what it says, decompose the fraction. You're going to write each fraction as a sum of unit fractions. So look, this is easy. 7/8. What does that equal? Well, 1/8 plus 1/8, and you keep going until you have 1/8 7 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So 7/8 equals 1/8 plus 1/8 plus 1/8 plus 1/8 plus 1/8 plus 1/8 plus 1/8, right? And then if you wanted to write an equation, you could say, all right, well, I'm going to take 3 of those and 4 of those. So it also equals 3/8 plus 4/8, all right? I want you to do number 7 yourself. Okay, let's take a look. You have 1/10 plus 1/10 plus 1/10 plus 1/10 plus 1/10, right? So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Easy peasy, right? 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1 equals 5. 5/10. Denominators are the same. Are you tired of hearing me say that? Good. So then if you want to add them, you could say maybe 1/10 plus 1, 2, 3, 4/10. That's going to equal 5/10. All right? Now, for your work, we're going to skip page 564. I'm going to work on that on Wednesday with you. You are going to do 565. Draw the model if you need to, but you don't have to. And then over here, it's exactly the same thing, except now they have circles. But it's still 1/5 plus 1. So here you have how many fifths shaded? Well, here you have 2/5. Here you have 1/5. And what's your answer? 3/5. Do you see? 1, 2, 3. It doesn't make any difference what's not shaded. They want to know what the shaded, what you add the shaded ones, all right? So, do a great job on your work. Submit it on Dojo 565 and 566. Hope you have a great day. God bless you.